So you've just watched a 3-part series of the restoration of the 80 series. But what's next? The list is endless. We've got wheels and tires, we've got bodywork, we've got interior, we've got drawers, we've got electrical system.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on a second. One thing at a time.
You've got a point. So let's take it from the beginning. So first on the list is bodywork. It's a monumental task. We've got a lot of stuff to get through. We've got rust in areas, especially with the Land Cruisers here in the UK. They rust in very particular spots. Front of the arches, right in the front. So we've got to tackle that area, get that sorted. This vehicle has been rolled once before, so that you know who you are. I was lucky enough to save the vehicle, and now I own it, which is great. So we've got some deep gouges here. We need to do some body work and filling down the driver's side of the vehicle. Got a couple of dents here and there, so we've just got to tackle those areas. Rust in these areas, they tend to form in the Land Cruisers here in the UK. And we've got something really cool planned for the bonnet. We've got a different style bonnet going to go on the 80 series, something really cool, something that has been done before, but I don't think there is any of them in the UK, so it's going to be a nice little addition to the 80 series, the old goat. So there's a dent here as well, so there's quite a lot of body work to do. We are going to go through a full color change as well, something completely different, because there is so much body work to do, and it's going to be very, very expensive to go back to the original color. So we're going to go for a completely different color change, and it's going to be a closed door spray, so not all of it's going to be covered, so we'll have to slowly transform the color as we go. But in terms of the body, she's very tough, she's strong, she's okay. It's just very, very small minor things we have to tackle to make her look amazing. Okay, draw system. For those of you who own an SUV, you tend to start becoming very, very clever with your space that you have available to you. So I've gone from having a pickup, a Ford Ranger, now to the 80 series, which is an SUV. So the amount of space that you can utilize is a lot more limited. So we have to be very, very clever in what we want to do with the drawer system. So what we've done is a shelf on the top, so that's custom made. We've done that, and we've planned an entire new drawer system, fridge slide, cooking system. So you want a drawer system that is practical, is useful, and it doesn't get cluttered. And when you're cooking, you have access to all your implements, you have access to your pantry, and you have usable space in areas that you can utilize around you. That's the best thing. There's nothing worse than getting to a camp spot, trying to cook, and you have to open and close drawers, move all your stuff out of the way, and it just becomes annoying. So what we're aiming to do is making a very, very practical drawer system that not only carries tools, and it's going to carry water, it's going to carry compressed air, it'll have some power at the back here, we'll have plenty of lighting, and everything will be accessible when we need it, especially during the cooking phase.
Where does the water go?
That's a good question. So water we're planning to have it on the right hand side, along with some compressed air. So the water tank itself, we are going to custom fabricate a water tank out of stainless steel, and that is going to go underneath the 80 series where the spare wheel used to live. Now there's a lot of space underneath there, so we're going to try and utilize that space. We also need to think about baffling the tank as well, because as you can imagine, if you have large amounts of liquid sloshing from side to side, that does affect obviously your ride, and you don't want to be sitting at a traffic light doing this all the time. So baffling that tank is very, very important, making sure it's stainless steel so it's nice and clean and becomes potable water. So we need to ensure we've got an inlet, an outlet, and a drain on the tank, so we can flush the tank after we come back from a camping trip to make sure that everything is nice and clean, because as you can imagine, we'll be drinking from that water. I want to be able to drink from that, I want to be able to shower from it and cook from it, so there's multiple uses. So we've got to be very clever and think about what we're doing very, very carefully. So the tank will be underneath, there'll be a water outlet there, and then we've got obviously the 2 side windows. Those will become gull wings on the sides, and that'll be the shower area. mainly because there will be a shower cube on the right hand side, and the left hand side will be more for like an entertainment area, a mini bar of sort, because that'll be underneath the awning, which will be coming, which will be great. So plenty of stuff. There's all going to be homemade drawer system, no bolting accessories. It'll be all made at home, handmade, with nice drawer runners, nice durable drawer runners, both locking in the closed position, locking in the open position. So there's plenty of things we've got to think about, is securing it to the floor, ensuring that we utilize as much space as we can, and having things useful in areas that we want it, which is great. So this is a great thing about making your own drawer system, is you can basically make exactly what you want, which is awesome. So we've got plans for that. We've drawn something up. We've got a good idea of what we're drawing, or building, sorry, so which would be good. And I think we're going to be doing it out of 18mm ply, which is a decent level to start with, nice and thick, nice and durable, and it'll keep its length, and it won't have a lot of flex in it. So I think we're going to go for 18mm ply, which would be pretty good. So, and then we're going to carpet line it and make it nice, just give it a nice soft feel to it, and then we'll put some edging on it just to give that sort of finished effects to protect the edges. We'll do that, and we'll have an electrical system built in the back of the drawers. We will get to that. But that's the drawers. Righty, interior. What can we say about the interior? It is like really old brown interior. There's not much to say about it, but it's very retro. It's kind of grown on me, I guess. So what have we got planned? We're gonna strip out all the interior, all the seats, everything is coming out, carpets, the whole lot. We're gonna clean obviously the body, and we're going to try and find any problem areas, maybe any holes or penetrations that are going towards the body, bottom of the vehicle. So we want to make sure that everything's sealed. So if we do any water crossings, we don't have any water coming up from below, and we are looking for any sort of problem areas like such as water leaks, rust. We're going to try and tackle all that as much as we can. And from there, once we've got that baseline, the bodywork is okay, we'll get sound deadening, and we're going to sound deaden the whole of the vehicle, really insulate the sound internally inside the vehicle, but just give it a nicer feel. It doesn't sound so tinny inside the 80 series. They don't really suffer badly from the sound inside, but it will really help with the sound internally in the vehicle. It will also waterproof the internal parts of the vehicle, which is really good. And in that time, we are going to look for a couple of water leaks. We do have one sort of the front passenger area. I suspect there's one around there, and there is one in the back. But I know where it's coming from. It's coming from one of the windows, the sliding windows. So that will be repaired when we install the gull wings, which is great. So I'm not really worried about that. But I suspect there will be a couple of rust spots here and there. So we're going to tackle that as much as we can. And then we're going to add a sound system through the 80 series, update the radio, a double din, Sony, I think it's a Sony one we're getting, Sony, and the full Sony system. We're going to carry through that, and then maybe chuck in a little subwoofer that goes under the seat somewhere. That'll be nice. It'll be really nice to have something a bit more modern in this sort of retro vehicle, which will be really, really cool. So really looking forward to that, and I really, really, really want to get this interior done. I think that's one of the things that is very, very important is to get sorted, is this interior, to make it more comfortable. We do have a fridge planned for between the two front seats, so we've got to make a new base, put a fridge between us. So for the trip that we're doing, it's quite important that we can maximize the amount of time on the road, because there's a lot of traveling we're doing. We have to cover a lot of miles, so refreshments and things and food and snacks will be great at a very sort of useful location. I don't want loads of bags and clutter all around the vehicle, so it'll be nice in a usable location right next to the passenger and the driver, which will be perfect for what we needed. So and the other thing is, Land Cruisers are well known for not having any cup holders. We've added a couple of cup holders, which is great, but the fridge we'll get has some more, so we'll be inundated with cups and stuff, which will be amazing. So we're really looking forward to tackling the interior.
What's going on in one of these seats? Tell them about that.
That's a good one. So we have something really cool planned for one of the rear seats. So us being filming on the go and us using a SUV, we are very limited to space, like I mentioned before. So we don't really want bags and a load of gear on the back seats. We want to utilize that for maybe clothing or any other gear that we have. So we are going to build a charging station that's going to be take one of the seats out, and it will be a bolt-in system that actually goes into that area. It'll have its own power supply coming from the electrical system. It will have all its charging ports, so it will be a usable charging station for all the camera gear, which will be quite cool. We've got the plans for that as well, all the drawings. We've kind of sketched it up. We've come up with some really cool ideas, and it will also be a workstation. So if I was to stop and edit a video on the fly, I can just do that. We can, from the charging station, we'll have a platform that comes out. I can sit with my laptop in the vehicle, out of the elements, in the quiet, and I can, you know, edit a video, or I can upload all the footage that we have onto the systems and charge all the systems, and, you know, get all the memory cards ready for the next day. So that is going to be really, really cool, that we're going to add to the vehicle. So it is removable for that very reason. So if I want to take more passengers with me, I can put my back seat back in, and then we can still utilize the whole back seat, so which is really, really great. Okay, so suspension, wheels and tires, we'll combine this. So let's start off wheels and tires. Wheels and tires, we want to go 35-inch tires, but I think here in the UK we are limited to a 15-inch wheel. I like 16-inch wheels. I think that's just personal preference, but for the choice range, you get more choice with a 15-inch rim. So we're going to drop down to 15-inch, and then we're going to step up to a 35-inch tire. I'm going to go with Toyo tires. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I just really like the Toyo tires. They're affordable. They're great tires, and I've run them on my Ranger for the past 4 years, and they've been absolutely superb, and I would like to go back with them. Nothing against obviously the Cooper Discoverers ATs that are currently on here. These are great little tires. These all-terrains, these are awesome. I'll keep these as spares, but the Toyo tires, I'm going to go mud terrain, 35-inch, 15-inch rim, and we've got hopefully something special planned for the rims. If you follow the channel, you kind of guess what might be coming. Suspension. So suspension is pretty simple. We've got a 2-inch Old Man Emu kit in here currently. As you can see, it's sagging in the front a little bit, so it is tired. They've been in here for quite a while, so we're going to update the suspension. We're taking the coils out. We're going to rate them for the amount of weight we'll be carrying on the front, which is going to be obviously to take up the bull bar and the winch. So we'll make sure that the coils are rated correctly. And then for the suspension, I've chosen a brand that has done a lot of R&D with their suspension. There's a lot of time involved, and they're a very reputable brand, and I've always liked this suspension. They're really, really good kit, and it's something I really would like to put on the Cruiser, and I really look forward to finding out what the performance is all about. We are going to be doing constant load springs on the back. I think we're going to go for either a 300 or 400 kilogram constant load, due to the amount of stuff we've got in the drawers. We'll have a water tank. We've got quite a lot of gear in the back. So one thing you've got to keep in mind is make sure when you get your suspension is try and figure out how much weight you're going to put on the vehicle before you buy your suspension. There's nothing worse than getting your suspension right in the beginning of your build, and then when you come to putting everything all over your truck, and then everything is just sags and it doesn't perform the way it's supposed to perform. So I think that'll be one of the last things we actually put on the truck is the suspension, to make sure that everything is a-okay. But that's what we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to getting the truck back level again and running great on the new suspension, wheels and tires. Bull bars. That's what's next. Where do we start? Not the prettiest of bars. I've not really liked this bull bar. yes, I've obviously fabricated this myself, but what we're going to do with the bull bar, especially the front one, we're going to use this base to give us a starting point for the new one that we're designing. So I have drawn up a brand new bull bar, and we're going to basically use this section here, mainly the winch cradle. We can use that as a starting point, and we're going to build from there. It's a whole new hoop system, so we need to make sure that it carries both my spotties, antennas. I wanted to make sure that everything is useful and it looks the way we need it to look. We want something that's nice and aggressive, but it's also functional, it's practical, and it does what it needs to do. So that's the front. Okay, rear bar. Simple, I'd like to say, but not so simple. We are fabricating our own rear bar, all at home. All the stuff we're doing is at home, by the way. So getting completely rid of what we have right here. We still would like to have a towing function. We are going to have a swing out tire carrier on this side. We'll have a swing out jerry can holder. They'll be on gas struts, open up to give us space for obviously the rear drawers, and they'll keep those doors away from the body so they don't close in on the user when we're out here either cooking or doing something in the back. So I'm really looking forward to fabricating that. I used to have a tire carrier here, and that broke off luckily while we were at a campsite, so I can't imagine that coming off at 60 miles an hour on a motorway. That wouldn't be very pretty. So we're going to ensure that the pin that we use for the rear bar for both sides are quite substantial, because they tend to go. You've got to be very, very careful what material you use, and obviously the reinforcement you use in those areas. So so while we do the rear bar, while we take this off, I suspect there's a lot of bolts, or the original bolts are still in here. I think they're going to give us some problems, so we're going to try and tackle that as quickly as we can, and then get that bar on there and get everything reinforced and protected and done really, really nicely at the back here, so it's more functional. We'll get the recovery boards off the roof, and they'll be on the rear bar as well, so something is more accessible. It'll be easier for us to get the recovery boards when we need them, and just make that this whole area a little bit more functional and give it that sort of rugged off-road look. Okay, electrical system. Now this is going to be an interesting one, because I've got two batteries, 200 amp hour batteries. They're going to go somewhere, predominantly in the back of the drawer system. So we had to choose something that is accessible. So they're going to be, we'll have a cavity in the back of the drawers that'll house both batteries either side. Between the batteries will be all the breakers and the fuse box and whatnot, and then we'll have the C-Tech battery, DC to DC battery charger. So that'll be connected to the solar panel on the roof. That'll be trickle charged back in here. It'll keep these batteries going, but it'll also have a feed from the main battery. So while we're driving, it'll feed the whole entire system. It'll keep the fridge in the back running, it'll keep the fridge between the driver and passenger seat running, and it'll feed all the accessories from this location. So the reason why we chose this area is because of the accessibility behind the seats. So it will be hidden. Once we close these seats, you won't be able to see the system itself. But if we have an issue somewhere, something with the accessories don't work, or there's a problem somewhere, it's quite easy to gain access to your split charge system right there. You've got your batteries, you've got everything in view, your fuses, everything will be there, which is nice and great. So nice and simple for the electrical system. The only tricky part for the cables is for getting the cable from the roof into the 80 series. As you guys, if you have followed the channel, you know I hate drilling into vehicles, but I think on this particular occasion there will be only one spot we can bring cables through from the roof, and that'll be next to the gull wings. I think there is a spot there. We'll have to waterproof it. It's just one of those things. We've got to make sure that is the spot we're going to come through. So I'm going to have to check of all possibilities of what we can do to get a cable in here. If you guys have any ideas on how to bring cables from the exterior of the 80 series into the 80 series without drilling too many holes, that'll be great. I would love to hear your options and your opinions, so let me know. But that's the electrical system, nice and simple. Righty, that's basically it in a nutshell. So there's quite a lot of work we need to do. The pressure is on. I'll tell you why. We have a very big trip to do in 4 months' time. However, the catch is we can't work during the week because we have day jobs, etc. So we've only got weekends or maybe a couple of nights during the week. So in reality, we've got about 34, just under 40 days of physical work we can do on this Land Cruiser. So clock is ticking right now. So we've got to get the pedal to the metal, as they say, to get this cruiser ready for our big trip to Europe. We've got a lot of countries we're going to be going through, so that'll be a nice series that will be coming up in the near future. But if you guys have any questions, comments or suggestions, please let me know down below. And as always, I will see you in the next one.
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.